Hello students, I am teacher Svetlana, and in our today's lecture we will learn about reproductive health, birth control, sexually transmitted diseases and infertility, which is covered in the chapter Reproduction in Lower and Higher Animals. Reproductive health. Students, according to the World Health Organization, reproductive health means total well-being in all aspects of reproduction, that is physical, emotional, behavioral and social. Reproductive health problems and strategies. India was amongst the first countries in the world to initiate the program Family Planning, initiated in 1951. Reproductive health in a society forms a crucial part of the general health. Improved programs covering wider reproductive related areas are currently in operation under the popular name Reproductive and Child Care, which is also known as RCH program. Health and education of young people and marriage and childbearing during more mature stages of life are important attributes of the reproductive health of a society. Now, the measures that are taken by the government to achieve the goals of RCH, there are a list of measures that are being taken. A few are: through the help of audiovisuals and print media, awareness is created among people. Even family members, close relations are involved in the awareness program. Sex education was introduced in schools to provide awareness, proper information about reproductive organs, adolescence and related changes, safe and hygienic sexual practices, sexually transmitted diseases, AIDS, etc. are among the few. By creating awareness about these aspects as well as for the child immunization. The population in India, which was approximately 350 million at the time of independence, reached close to a billion mark by 2000 and crossed 1.2 billion in May 2011. Now in 2020, population of India has crossed 1.35 billion. The government is taking serious measures to check this population growth. The most important step to overcome this problem is to motivate society to have smaller families by using various birth control methods. What is birth control? The birth control measures which deliberately prevent fertilization are referred to as contraceptives. The contraceptive methods help to prevent unwanted pregnancies. You can see in this image, this is the list of methods that are used as contraceptive methods. Contraceptive methods are of two main types. We have temporary method and permanent method. Contraceptive methods could be divided into the following categories: natural or the traditional method, barrier methods, IUCDs, oral contraceptive methods, injectable implants and surgical methods. Let us have a look at each of these methods. Students, let us have a look at the temporary methods of birth control. The natural methods work on the principle of avoiding chance of the ovum and the sperm meeting. Now, this includes periodic abstinence. The couples avoid coitus from the day 10 to 17 of the menstrual cycle, as chances of fertilizations are very high during this period. It is also called as the fertile period. Then the next method is withdrawal or coitus interruptus. Male partner withdraws the penis from the vagina just before ejaculation to avoid insemination. Then the next method is lactational amenorrhea, that is absence of menstruation after pasteurization, that is after childbirth, and due to intense milk feeding there is no ovulation in this period and hence chances of fertilization is nil. Then we have the chemical means which are called as spermicides. In this method, chemicals like foams, tablets, jellies and creams are used by the female partner. Before sexual intercourse, if these chemicals are introduced into the vagina, they adhere to the mucous membrane. They immobilize and kill the sperm. It may cause allergic reactions. This method has chances of failure. So these are the temporary birth control measures. After the natural methods, we have the barrier methods, which are also part of our temporary methods, where again the ovum and sperm are prevented from physical meeting with the help of a barrier. This includes condoms, by male, barrier made of rubber or latex sheet used to cover the penis or the vagina and cervix of the female. It also prevents STDs, that is sexually transmitted disease. Then we have diaphragms, cervical cups and walls. These are barriers made of rubber that is inserted into the female reproductive tract during coitus. Then we have already spoken about spermicidal creams, jellies and foams are usually used along with these barriers to increase their contraceptive efficiencies. Advantages of this barrier methods: they are disposable, they can be safely inserted, they are reusable, prevents conception by blocking entry of the sperm through the cervix. Then we have the intrauterine devices. These are inserted by doctors or trained nurses into the female uterus through the vagina. IUCDs may be non-medicated IUDs. Example, we have lipases loop, copper-releasing IUCDs, and hormone-releasing IUCDs. IUCDs increase the phagocytosis of the sperm in the uterus, and copper reduces the motility and fertility capacity of the sperms. The hormone-releasing IUCDs make the uterus unsuitable for implantation and the cervix hostile to the sperms. It is ideal for women who want to delay pregnancy and space between two children. Then we have the physiological devices, that is the oral pills that are progesterone or progesterone estrogen combination used by females in form of tablets. They inhibit ovulation and implantation as well as change the quality of the cervical mucus to prevent or retard the entry of the sperms. Administrations of progesterone or progesterone estrogen combinations within 72 hours of coitus is found to be very effective as an emergency contraceptive. Then we have other contraceptive methods. The birth control implant is a contraceptive used again by female. It is a tiny thin rod about the size of a matchstick. It is implanted under the skin of the upper arm. They contain progesterone and estrogen. Their mode of action is similar to that of pills. This prevents pregnancy for around 3 to 4 years. So these are the barrier methods of your temporary birth control methods. Now students, let us have a look at the permanent methods of birth control. They are the surgical method. These methods are called as sterilization. It is used as terminal method of contraception in male and female to prevent any more pregnancies. Vasectomy is the surgical method in male. A small part of the vas deferens is removed or tied up through a small incision on the scrotum to prevent release of the sperms. If you have a look at this image here, you can see here the vas deferens is tied and cut. Then we have tubectomy. It is a surgical method in females in which a small part of the fallopian tube is removed surgically. Here, have a look at this image here. You can see the fallopian tubes are tied and cut. These techniques are highly effective, but their reversibility is very poor. Then we have the medical termination of pregnancy. An intentional or voluntary termination of pregnancy before full term is called as medical termination of pregnancy, MTP, or induced abortion. MTP is essential in cases of unwanted pregnancies or in defective development of the fetus. It is safe during the first trimesters of the pregnancy. The defective development of fetus is examined by amniocentesis. Students, amniocentesis is a process in which the amniotic fluid containing the fetal cells is collected using a hollow needle inserted in the uterus under ultrasound guidance. If you have a look at this image here, you can see the entire process that takes place. Ultrasound imaging is done and a needle is inserted into the to obtain the fetal cells the chromosomes are studied to see the abnormalities in the developing fetus. So once the fluid is extracted, it is examined, and the chromosomes are studied to find out if there is any abnormalities in the fetus. But the dangerous trend is the misuse of amniocentesis to determine the sex of the unborn child. Frequently, if the fetus is found to be female, it is aborted, which is totally illegal. So the government of India has legalized MTP Act in 1971 with strict conditions to avoid its misuse. Sexually transmitted diseases, STDs. Diseases or infections which are transmitted through sexual intercourse are collectively called as sexually transmitted diseases or STDs, or venereal diseases, VDs, or reproductive tract infections, RTI. The major venereal diseases are syphilis and gonorrhea. This chart here gives you an idea about the disease, its causative agent, its incubation period, the infection sites, symptoms, the preventive measures, and the treatment of these two common STDs, that is syphilis and gonorrhea. For example, the causative agent of syphilis is Treponema pallidum, it's a bacteria, and the causative agent of gonorrhea is Neisseria gonorrhoeae. This is also a bacteria. You can pause the video for a while and you can have a look at this chart. Infertility. The couples which are unable to reproduce children in spite of unprotected sexual cohabitations are called as infertile. The reasons for this could be many, which are physical, congenital diseases, drugs, immunological, or even psychological. Infertile couples could be assisted to have children through certain special techniques commonly called assisted reproductive technologies, ART, which includes the in vitro fertilization, IVF, fertilization outside the body followed by embryo transfer, which is commonly called test tube baby program. The ovum from the wife or the donor and the sperm from the husband or the donor are collected and introduced, that is, they are induced to fertilize in laboratory conditions. The zygote or the early embryo at the 8 blastomeres could be transferred into the fallopian tube called as ZIFT, zygote infrafallopian transfer, and the embryo with more than 8 blastomeres, IUT, intrauterine transfer into the uterus to complete the further development. Then we have GIFT, GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer, that is the transfer of the ovum collected from a donor into the fallopian tubes of another female who do not produce ovum. Then we have intracytoplasmic sperm injections, ICSI, specialized procedures to form an embryo in laboratory in which sperm is directly injected into the ovum. Then we have the artificial insemination, infertility cases in which the male partner is unable to produce healthy sperms are treated by this technique, in which sperms collected from the donor is artificially introduced into the vagina or into the uterus. IUI, that is intrauterine insemination of the female. Then we have the sperm bank or the semen bank. A sperm bank or the semen bank is a place which collects, stores and provides human sperms and semen. The semen is provided by healthy male called sperm donors. The sperms are stored in sperm bank by cryopreservative methods at low temperatures. Then we have adoption. Adoption is the legal process by which a couple or single parent gets legal rights, privileges and responsibilities that are associated to a biological child for the upbringing of the adopted child. Thank you students for participating in this lecture. See you soon again with the next topic. Till then, take care, be safe and keep learning.